I'd like to welcome you to my channel. My name is Knox, and today we're going to be doing an Alyssa tutorial on her down 3-1 combo ender. I have found that it's definitely her most damaging combo ender because it does wall carry and it also breaks walls, so it's great for stage transitions. Everything we're going to be doing today is going to be on Xiaoyu because she has a small hitbox, so we know if we can make a hit on Xiaoyu, that's going to hit the rest of the cast 100% of the time, with the exception of the bears, but we'll get to the stupid animals later. So, going right into this, I'm not going to be going over all her combos by any means, but I'm just going to go over a few situations and show you the way you need to adjust to make sure that the down 3-1 is going to hit. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start off with something simple, like her hop kick, up forward 4-4. Now with this one, you don't have to do anything. As soon as you get control back of Alyssa, down 3-1, and it's going to hit every single time. So definitely pretty simple. Every time it's going to hit. So with that, we don't have to do anything. We know we hit with the hop kick, down 3-1 is going to hit all the time, no matter what, as long as you input it immediately when you gain control back of Alyssa. Now, if we were to do something like boot 4, which is definitely one of her most damaging combo starters, as well as one of the riskiest. If your opponent blocks it, expect to get launched for good damage if they know anything at all about Tekken. However, she has a lot of really cool tech trap situations, Oki situations, to where it makes that move real hard to block. I'll be going over setups and everything in depth about her in that department in my 4-part Alyssa breakdown video that will be coming soon. But let's go ahead and get into the boot 4. So with this one, you're going to have to wait a half a second. If you do it right away, it's going to mess up like that. Or if you try and dash, because they seem like they're far, so you're going to want to dash in to make a hit, that'll whiff too. So the way you make it consistent is you wait a half a second. And then it'll hit her every time. So again, we just have to wait a half a second for her legs to start to come down a little bit so that the down 3 will pop them up enough at the right angle to where the 1 is not going to miss. So let's go ahead and do that one more time here. You see how we waited just that half of a second. Alright. So those are just 2 situations so far. We know off the up forward 4-4 because it leaves them so close in front of you, and down 3 has so much range that it's going to, we don't have to wait at all. We can just go right into it. But with something like boot 4, we have to wait a half a second. Now, say we're going to use forward 1+2. Great whiff punishing tool. Keep in mind it is launch punishable on blocks, so definitely something I wouldn't just want to be throwing around, but it is a great whiff punishing tool. Off of this, you have to dash. Because if you don't dash, it's not going to hit, or if you dash too deep. So like we'll go ahead and do an example of not dashing. See, it just doesn't have the range. Even if you wait for her feet to come down, it will not pop them up at the right angle. But if you dash too deep, it's gonna whip. So you have to just give it a little dash, and it's going to hit every single time. So definitely, things to keep in mind here. And all of this, if you practice it in training, I suggest practicing it on Xiaoyu. Once it becomes muscle memory, you're good. Now, again, once it becomes muscle memory, you're good to go. That's what all this is about, is just helping train your mind that, off of this, I can just go right into it. Off of this, I have to dash. Off of this, I have to wait. And depending on what combos you do, you're going to have to experiment and see which of those options works to make it hit. If it's not hitting at all, and what you're doing isn't optimal, then I suggest changing your combo to where the down 3-1 will actually hit consistently. Now, going into something like her down forward 2, is a little tricky, because if you do just the old Tekken 6 combo, well, mostly anyways, it whiffed right there, right? I went right into it, went right into the down 3-1 after the corkscrew, and it whiffed for some reason. Let's try it again. Missed again. Sometimes this will just randomly connect. It'll work, and it'll make you think. See, look right there, it worked. What did I do different? I didn't do anything different, and it'll make you think that. Look at that. It'll make you think that it's just something you're doing, but it's not. It's just inconsistent. Oops. It's just inconsistent. See, like what? I'm doing down 3-1 as soon as I gain control back of Alyssa, but for some reason it whiffs sometimes it hits. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the inconsistency with the down 3-1 they were trying to completely remove. Even though that hit sometimes, and sometimes it didn't, and if you were fighting a character that has a more normal sized hitbox, that would probably be a decent option that would hit most of the time. But the goal of this tutorial is to make it to where it hits 100% of the time, all the time. You know, so what we need to do is we need to adjust the combo in a way to where it's going to hit Xiaoyu no matter what. If we can do it 100 times, it's going to hit 100 times, as long as we don't mess up an input. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to eliminate that inconsistency factor. We want to take that out of the situation completely. So the way we're going to adjust our combo to make sure the down 3-1 hits is we're going to do this. Now that's going to hit every single time. Now what we're doing is a little bit tricky. What we're doing is the inputs down forward 2, down forward 1-1, forward 2, back 2-4 for the corkscrew, and then down 3-1. But the reason we're doing the back 2-4 ender instead of the down 4-1 plus 2 ender is because the back 2-4 will knock them a little bit further away. Because again, we wanted to get it to where that down 3 hits them and picks them up at just the right angle to where the 1 is not going to miss. So with the other combos like I showed you, 4-4-4, we don't have to do anything. With the boot 4, we have to wait a second. With this combo, we have to take a step forward. So we're not quite dashing, but we are moving forward. If you dash, it's not going to hit. The 1 will miss every single time. So you can't dash. But you can't just do it immediately either, like we would say from the hop kick, because the down 3 will miss. And if you try to wait like you would do off of the boot 4, it's not going to, the 1 is still not going to hit. Even if you manage to get the 3, see, the 1's not going to hit because it knocks them too far back. So what we want to do is after back 2-4, we want to take a step forward like I just did there. So what I do is I do back 2-4 and I'm already holding forward so that as soon as she comes out of recovery, she takes a step forward. Just like that. Back 2-4, hold forward, takes a step. See that, just that short little tiny step is all you need. And then you immediately go into down 3. So to show you how it looks in the combo, you see how she took that little tiny step? That little tiny step will make sure the down 3-1 is guaranteed and hits every single time. And it's 1 more damage than the other one. So what you need to figure out is, depending on what combos you like to do, which of the ways to use it is the way to use it for that combo. And I guess what I mean is if you're doing something that's leaving them very close in front of you, you need to know, okay, do I dash? Do I just, wait a second? Because it's one of those 3 things. You either have to dash, wait a second, or do it immediately. If you're finding that none of those 3 options is working for your combo, then I would suggest getting rid of that combo and moving on to something like this, where it's going to hit all the time. Because consistency is everything. And whiffing down 3-1, for anyone who plays her, it's not fun. Sometimes it'll whiff completely and they'll be able to get up and punish you. Sometimes they'll do this weird thing where you kind of teleport behind them almost, and they cross you up and they get to hit you from behind. So it's really, really important that we take all of that aspect out of it. The last thing we're going to cover in this tutorial is the bears. For the most part, everything's going to work the same on the bears. As far as the down 3-1 is concerned, you can use it off everything virtually the same. The only real difference here is off the forward 1+2, the standing 4 part of the combo is going to whiff because his legs are too short. So you're just going to want to adjust your combo where you do something like this, and then do the half a step forward into the down 3-1. And that's going to hit every time. It is going to give you less damage, but it is going to hit every time. Other than that, again, everything pretty much works exactly the same for the bears as it would anyone else. And that about wraps everything up for this tutorial. I really hope it helps you moving forward into making that down 3-1 more consistent in your combos and eventually reaching the goal of never dropping it. If this helped you in any way, please subscribe. We got a lot more Lisa tutorials coming soon. Any questions, feel free to drop a comment, and that thumbs up always helps. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time.